I think it's always fun for our team and for our fans to play Texas Tech just because of the rich tradition of the series. And I mean, I was a part of some really special games versus them, and I get excited to play them. But I mean, for our team, we need to get excited to play everybody, and I think the key for us is to have a type of energy that we have in some particular moments in the Big 12 games and try to carry it over minute to minute, quarter to quarter, so that we can put a complete game together. We were close to that in Iowa, not so close in West Virginia, so I think that's the goal of ours right now is probably to worry a little bit more about ourselves and what we can control and a little bit less about who the opponent is.
Coach, how nice is it, though, after these two tough games on the road to be back home?
Well, I think it's really good that we were able, while we were out of school, to get probably the two roughest road trips over and then have to go to Kansas State next weekend. So we've had in this month, in these 3 weeks, probably we will have the three toughest in my eyes as far as travel road trips. And it'll be nice to get back home. No question that we enjoy playing in the Irwin Center. And I think our fans, hopefully there'll be some students here that are back on campus, but I think they love Big 12 play. I think they appreciate it, and we always look forward to playing at home.
When you look at the film, what was most disappointing about the West Virginia game?
I think the disappointing thing was our lack of aggression in the first half offensively as opposed to the second. I mean, the foul line is the example of that. We got to the foul line so many more times in the second half, and that's just being aggressive, either penetrating wise or a little bit more aggressive in the paint, and we were pretty passive in the first half, and I was surprised by that. And then the second is just what I said a few minutes ago. I alluded to the fact that what you can control is your effort and your attitude. You can't control whether the ball is going to go in all the time. But what I've found about this team is that when we have a certain energy about us and a connectedness, that we're pretty good. We're really good. But we find ourselves in situations where we might go a quarter or start the game a little lackadaisical, non-aggressive, I guess is the best way I know to put it. And then we have to try to figure out how to jumpstart ourselves, or we've had some lackadaisical third quarters. So, again, I think when you get to the level that we're playing at in conference play, you have to put together 4 quarters of effort. And if not, then you find yourselves talking about things that you should be able to control.
When it comes to that energy and enthusiasm and aggression, when your team doesn't have it, is that a product of them just being young and not knowing how to replicate it for an entire game yet?
I don't think so, because I think the older players are the ones that I'm starting. So those are the ones that are starting the first quarter, and those are the ones that are starting the third quarter. So I think it is just a matter of maybe there are some players that, I mean, I still have the 2 guards that are still trying to get themselves used to playing 25, 30 minutes a game at a high level. And maybe sometimes those 2 just aren't full of the type of energy that we need. And then, Jada and Joyner are 2 that have taken all the reps all year long, and I think they're the anchors as far as what we bring to the table. And I've said this before, and I think it helped us in the West Virginia game to stick the young ones in and give us some energy, but I don't think it's a youth problem right now, because they're not the ones that, again, start each half for us.
Obviously, Lexi and Brittany kind of stand out on this Tech team.
They do.
What else do you see from them, and what do you kind of expect tomorrow?
Well, I see a lot of points on the board. They scored a lot in non-conference play and have continued to score quite a few points in conference play. Lexi and Brittany are most definitely playing extremely well, but I think that's also a product of how good their guards played in non-conference play, how they shot the basketball and continue to shoot it from the 3, how aggressive they are and how fast they play. Maybe some teams are picking their poison, so to say, and leaving some shots open in the paint. Brittany's one of the most improved players throughout her career in our league. And I've known Lexi for a long time, and I think that they're just growing as a basketball team and program. I mean, they were really, really competitive last year, and as I've said many times, I mean, to our team, there are teams in our league right now that you can tell were disappointed they didn't get to the tournament last year. They're scratching and clawing, and we have to try to join the race with that.
You touched on this last week, just about the overall parity of the sport right now. I mean, in Big 12 play, do you sense that all these teams come in feeling like this could be our night, essentially, and we get on a winning streak, and all of a sudden we could be among the top 25 teams in the country as well?
I definitely think that. I think that, as I said before, one of the things that alarmed all of us last year in the Big 12 was the low number of teams that got into the tournament. So I think that when we looked at that after the season was over with, some people amped up their non-conference schedules, probably amped up their sense of urgency, and you can definitely tell that. And then, some that didn't fare so well last year were really, really young. I mean, Oklahoma was full of freshmen last year, and they're so much more confident and full of energy this year. And I mean, Oklahoma State is so much deeper, so I think people added to their rosters and knew what they needed to address, and so I think across the board there's just such a different look of urgency in most of the teams that I see in the league.
I think it's a safe bet that she'll play, but so this will be Joiner's 100th game tomorrow. What have you kind of seen from her in her 4 years and how she's grown?
I mean, she's definitely had setbacks. So, as you know, in the process of her maturing and growing, she's had situations that have kind of set her back. And I think there's been so many instances where Joyner has had to push the reset button that she probably sometimes feels like she can't see the light. But, I mean, 100 games is a lot. 100 games is a lot. And I think that she's hitting the stretch run of her career, as all of our seniors are, and that's where you really want to see a sense of urgency from her and from all of them that, this is it. I only have a few months left in my time in a Texas uniform, and yes, I'll probably have future endeavors in basketball, but this is it. This is the last hurrah for me, and hopefully she'll start to reflect on that a little bit, and maybe this game is one of those things that would make her do that. But I think Joyner is capable of doing more and capable of doing remarkable things. So whether it's her 100th game or her 110th, I expect a lot out of her, and I'd like to see her finish these last few months on a great run.